People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, I hope you're all doing well and safe, man. Whoever you are, wherever you are. Like I said, I hope you're doing well and safe. And yeah, man, it's a blessing to wake up this morning. It's a blessing to always wake up. You know, we take a lot of things for granted. But moving on, in fact, do you know what? It's been a long season, and I always say this to you lot, but before I begin, thank you for your consistent support, because, it's been a long season. We're always almost there now, season's done on Sunday, and you lot have been supporting me. We've been through a lot as Arsenal fans, as football fans in general, so it's really appreciative, all your support and constructive criticism and the rest of it. You lot know me, I don't like to talk about the transfer rumours and stuff. I don't like to do all this speculation thing until things are confirmed or we see something to put thought into it. But, at base level, there's some reports coming out. And for nothing more, it makes for decent conversation. So let's start with, apparently, and you saw Brentford actually lose yesterday. Brentford, Chelsea and Arsenal are among boy, I had a brain fart there. Apologies, people. Chelsea and Arsenal are among the interested clubs for Sayed Benrahma, sorry, I can't pronounce his name. And Leeds are poised to enter the equation following their promotion. Now, Brentford, they lost yesterday. I think they're playing, is it Swansea, to try and get promoted? Obviously, big up former Gooner Josh De Silva. He scored a very good goal in their defeat to Barnsley? Can't remember. I would like Benrahma. Whenever I've watched him, I think he's got the ability to contribute and play at a higher level. Whether he can replicate, the Championship form and be an outstanding player in the Prem is another thing. But I definitely think he's got the technical ability and the technical level to hold his own. If he can be someone that gets 10 goals, 10 assists, that's down to him. I definitely think he's worth a punt. I think he'll complement the Chelsea side well. And he would. My geography on West London's poor, but Brentford and Chelsea's technically southwest. Can't imagine he'll have to move too far. Arsenal further, but the same thing, he'd stay in London. Obviously Leeds, again, I back him to play anywhere, but just at this moment in time, without seeing him kick a ball in the Premier League, Leeds screams more first team football for me. At Chelsea, he'd complement the side, at Arsenal the same, and I think he'd fit in. He's good technically, he wants to be the match winner and decider. I think, with all due respect to Brentford, I think he's one of them players that are going to play 10 times better when they're playing with better players. And I like him a lot. Every time I've seen him, he's kind of passed the test. There has been some games I want to see a bit more. There has been some games he can go missing. He is a bit hot and cold because of his playing style. But I definitely think for the right price, for Arsenal's case, it's worth trying, people. And, he's kind of played, he's offered a couple interviews this season, and he's been quite respectful to Brentford and said, listen, the first goal is obviously to try and gain promotion with them, and that's the goal, and they still could do that. If not, there's a decision to make for Brentford. Brentford bought him for a couple of £1 million, and they stand to at least make 15, 20 odd on him. And for Brentford, with their dynamic and what they're doing as a club, that's great. And Josh De Silva as well, he's someone, former Arsenal centre mid. I expect him to be playing in the Premier League within the next 18 months, 2 years, if he doesn't get promoted, man, because it's surely a matter of time before someone takes a punt on him. Benrahma has said, for what it's worth, I always watched the Premier League, especially Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United since I was a kid. I wanted to play in England, but I don't look at it as my destiny to play in the Premier League. It has always been a target, and I wish to play there with Brentford. And he went on to speak about Thierry Henry and players, and Cristiano Ronaldo and players like that in the Premier League. So yeah, you can imagine growing up in France or having some, being from a French-speaking country, heritage-wise, he knows about Arsenal. Obviously, Chelsea's a good role in itself, and again, it's not too far from where he is. Manchester United is Manchester United. The name holds weight in itself. So there's 3 clubs he could sign for, and he's playing coy and keeping all his options open. He's open clearly to come into Arsenal, in my opinion. Chelsea the same, United the same. Even teams away from this, anyone playing in the Premier League as well as Brentford, and that's what he should do. Keep all his options open until something happens, people. And for Chelsea, maybe, I don't know if they're waiting for stuff to be resolved over Willian. They seem to have priorities to try and get Hazard over the line. I don't know if they're waiting on Benrahma. Ironically, I haven't seen Manchester United linked with him per se too tough out of all of the 3 clubs, and Arsenal were heavily linked, and I would take him, because we ain't got money to go after these other targets, and I think he'll complement the side well, and things like that, and you'd get more out of him playing with better technical players, or what I hope would be better technical players. So it's true. I know a lot of people want Upamecano, but apparently Arsenal is not his first option, and he's got other things in mind, whether that's staying at Leipzig and signing a new deal, going to PSG and Bayern Munich, who he's been linked with. I'm not too sure for Munich. They've just signed Kouassi, and if I was Kouassi and they signed Upamecano, I'd be a bit vexed, but it is what it is. Away from that, though, apparently Arsenal are we've been linked with Danilo Pereira before, the midfielder, plays for Porto, I believe. He said, he's played for a couple of teams. He's quite decent, to be fair. I don't know how concrete these offers are, but apparently Arsenal plan to meet with Danilo's representatives near the end of the season once a clearer picture emerges on which competition, if any, Arsenal qualify for. Clearly, we're not getting champs, but, Europa League probably affects who we can and can't sign. The fee quoted has been 40 million. I think he's a decent player, and in the grand scheme of things, 40 million isn't the worst. And I like him, but I do think if it's for 40, I do think money could be spent better elsewhere, personally, for Danilo. If he comes, I want him to play better. I'll eat humble pie. That's just my opinion today in July. It could change, but I just don't think he's worth 40 million. That's my opinion. For what he said, though, he's kind of not been shy on talking up potentially playing in England. He said, I think Arteta, is doing a really, really good job. The style, I think I can fit there. The way he plays, also thinking on the ball. The team also has to be together. I think it's a good way to play. Of course, I'd like to play here in Porto, to be in my country, but I want to be in a better league like the Premier League. I've always dreamed of playing in that league. So that's someone that's using Arsenal and any other interested parties as to gauge, to try and get this move done. He's made his bed. He's not been disrespectful to Porto, but he's kind of said, I want to play in the Premier League. The law of the competitiveness of the Premier League attracts in people. So, I don't think he's worth 40 mil, but I think he can win the ball back and stuff like that, and he's decent in terms of progressive. It's not expensive, and we'd still need someone that can break the lines. But I wouldn't mind, man. I'd rather spend the 40 odd on Partey if we're going to do that, to be fair with you. No disrespect to Danilo. Congratulations to Bukayo Saka. He's apparently getting the number 7 shirt next season, and that shows his progress because, last season he was a young player known about, but he wasn't in the first team picture, and he's now a solid first team option. He's one of our most consistent players, so he deserves his new deal. He deserves that number 7. Obviously, that number 7 shirt tells us once again that his long-term future remains out wide. We can't rule out having to fill in at central at left back and doing that, and it could still be a role in the future, but this tells you the club see him as a number 7 and things like that. For him, it's a good touch of confidence because he's been playing well. I don't know his stats to hand. He got his first Premier League goal against Wolves, but specifically assists, he's up there. He's one of our better players. He deserves it. And next season, the challenge for Bukayo is he's still a young player. He still will go ups and downs, but give us this level of consistency again, because the honeymoon period is going to be over for Saka, as I keep saying. We'll still recognise he's young and stuff, but we're not going to look at him as this sort of unknown entity. Him and Martinelli, there's going to be an expectation sort of thing when Martinelli's back. So big up Bukayo Saka. And apparently, meanwhile, Nigeria are accelerating plans to snatch Arsenal wonder kid Bukayo Saka from under the nose of the England boss as the Super Eagles look to call up the youngster ahead of the next round of international fixtures. Now, again, I'm not Nigerian. Nigeria is a massive country, and I've got a lot of Nigerian friends. They're very proud of their country, and rightly so. It's a rich country, diverse and things. I know every country's got issues, but when you talk about culture, it's very rich culture in Nigeria, and I'm sure Bukayo Saka's family and himself, he's a proud Niger boy and stuff, and I'm sure it's an honour to be called up and be in the thinkings, and I'm sure he'll consider it. My thing, and I know Nigeria definitely, out of all the diaspora nations, Nigeria, in my opinion, are doing the best to convince these British talents or British born, or if they weren't British born, gone over in England to play for them. So Nigeria have a good chance. Personally, I think he's going to play for England, because that just tends to be the way, with all due respect, and that's one thing us as diaspora need to change. We are seen as the second option. Like, maybe I'm not saying this is Bukayo Saka, but if Bukayo Saka wasn't banging and playing for Arsenal and being looked at, maybe he would play for Nigeria. There's still every chance he gets called up, but I just think he's going to play for England. It's a good decision for him to have, and he should keep both options open. I think, it's a difficult decision for anybody, especially someone like Saka. Yes, he's born in West London, but he actually could have been born in Nigeria. I don't know. I think he's actually born in England, but he's probably Nigerian in all but where he was born. I can tell he comes from a rich, proud Nigerian family, rich in culture, proud in their heritage, and he's got a difficult decision to make because it's up to him. He's played for England at youth level. I'm sure he's dreamed of playing at Wembley and things like that. Southgate should have called him up a long time ago, but along with him, Greenwood and Foden, you can't deny these guys the England call-ups now. You really can't. So it's a difficult decision for Bukayo Saka, and it's lovely that he got the number 7 shirt regardless. Moving away from that though, people, apparently Arsenal are considering a move for Aston Villa midfielder Douglas Luiz, admit renewed interest from Man City 90-minute football, and this came straight off the back of him playing well against us, and he has been decent. I don't know if he's got enough in his locker in terms of passing. He's not the worst at it, but I don't think he's as accurate with his passing as he could be. He's a good ball winner. He's decent. He's decent on the ball. I just don't think for the higher levels, I'm not too sure. I do think he'll get a move to a team better than Villa. No coincidence, he's linked with Man City again. I don't think they're going to go for him and re-sign him. I don't know, but I just don't think so. Arsenal, I wouldn't mind him. He's got steel in the midfield. He bites. I do think at times he can be sloppy on the ball, and at times his positioning is a bit booky, but he's a decent player. Who wouldn't mind him? Moving away from that though, and once again Aubameyang's been allegedly wanted by Barcelona and is holding off contract talks to wait for an approach by Barcelona. Away from that though, and if you go on the Daily Mail, Sammy Mokbel said Arteta is optimistic of a positive outcome, though Arsenal will need to convince Aubameyang that his future lies at the Emirates, both with their financial terms and plans to strengthen the squad. Apparently Arsenal are already in their first move to tie down the captain with a contract offer in the region of 250,000 a week before bonuses. And to be fair, you know, it should happen. You know, Arteta keeps speaking about it, but until he signs it, he signs it, and it's a lot for Aubameyang to consider, man. Like, he's got to consider, you know, where this club is trying to go for him in the short term, in the short, long and medium, so he can see a trajectory and kind of gauge what they're trying to do in the transfer market. You know, he's got a lot to consider. Does he feel comfortable in London? And he knows staying in Arsenal probably, you know, conceding your chances of winning major honours in your career. So he's got a lot to consider. I feel we've heard that he wants 250k a week, 3-year deal. If Arsenal's put that on the table, fair play. 1 minute we hear Aubameyang say the club know what I want. 1 minute there's a contract offer on the table. 1 minute we're ready in it. So we'll never know. I just want to get it sorted. Hopefully it can be resolved in a couple of weeks. Hopefully it can be resolved before we actually do our transfer business. Because again, one person's future shouldn't really rain on yours, and it probably won't happen. But it would be nice to see, you know, our captain sign a new deal. Prospective targets, if they're not signed already, can say, okay, cool, if Aubameyang's going to sign, that might just give them a little reason to stay out, to come to Arsenal and things like that. And just in terms of having a good player, I feel, yeah, you can poke fun at Aubameyang's age and talk about longevity, but, and again, ifs and buts, don't win football matches, but if we fix up the squad to the level it did, fix up the spine, specifically midfield and defence, pattern off the game management, not drawing, all of these things that we don't want attributed, if you do all of that, fix it all up, Aubameyang can help you with your goals. You know, for 2 years, that's about 40 goals in the Premier League, 2 seasons apart, 2 20 league seasons. Where can that get you? You know, use him for these next. Look at Van Persie. He wasn't on the scheme of things. He wasn't at Manchester United long, but him signing there made the difference. Now, we're not Man United, but do you get what I'm saying? Things can happen if we just do things properly. So I don't know what to say. I'm hopeful on Aubameyang. I wouldn't mind Benrahma, people. Congratulations to Saka for what it's worth. And in relation to Danilo, I don't think he's worth 40 million, but, you know, I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. If he comes, he'll have my full support, of course, but I just don't think he's worth that at this moment in time. Please don't shoot me for having an opinion. On that note, though, it's always a pleasure speaking with you guys, but all good things have to come to an end, so I'm going to keep it moving. It was a pleasure. DG.